This is a very exciting interview. I get to interview my friend Levi Price. I've known him for a couple of years now. And we're going to be talking about his YouTube channel. We're going to be talking about how he buys and sells used computers. Very interesting strategies of how he buys and sells things online. I learned a lot there. He talks about real estate, what he's doing with his real estate plan. Of how he buys a house and then he goes and buys another house but rents out his previous house. I know a lot of people that want to do that, so he goes in depth there. And then also how he goes into his crypto strategy and does a little investing there. So without further ado, here's our interview. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, that's rough. I've done that too. I have a YouTube channel as well, and I have done that.
What? Did I know that? Let me look it up. Is it Levi Price or was it called?
No, it's called PC Meld. I do videos about building computers and stuff.
PC Meld.
Yeah,
dude, you have 286 subscribers.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I just started like a month or two ago.
What? That's so cool. Yeah, this 1 month ago you got 6,000 views on this one video.
Dude, look at my best short, man. I'm at 128,000 views on a short.
Are you kidding me? Popular. Yeah. Found the best PC deal on Facebook Marketplace. So is that also a business that you're doing with fixing these, and then you're just putting it on YouTube, or what is it?
I just resell them. So like I buy stuff off Facebook for a good price, make a video about it, talk about how the performance is and the parts. Like, because a lot of people want to know, like, should I buy a used gaming computer? Is it worth it? So I talk about, like, this is an old used part you could buy. This is how it performs today. Here's whether I think it's worth the value, what I think it's worth. And then I just resell them back on Facebook Marketplace once I fixed them up and made them better.
That's sick. How long does it take to fix it?
It depends on how busy I am. Like if there's nothing really wrong with it, I could do it in like a day. But usually if I'm doing a video about it, I take a week.
Mm-hmm.
Do all the production and, the scripting and all that. So, no.
For sure.
I just give myself a week because I'm busy. I got kids and work. And
Yeah. That's super. Are most of the people that are buying, are they in Cedar or where are they at?
Yeah, they're just all Cedar and St. George.
What? Good for you, dude.
So I don't like really make a ton of money off of the computers. That's not my main goal. My goal is to get content for YouTube and then to make money off of YouTube.
Okay. I was gonna ask what's your goal with YouTube?
Well, so I wanted 100 subs by December 31st of last year, and I hit that. So I was at 100 subs on December 31st, and now 2 weeks later, I've almost tripled.
Dude.
So I'm hoping to get 1,000 by the end of next month would be my goal, so that I could get monetized.
Yeah. Is monetization at isn't it like 1,000, but then you also have to have a certain amount of view time, right?
Yeah, so 1,000 subs, and then you also have to have either 4,000 watch hours or 10 million shorts views in the last 90 days. So
how long do you think it's going to take to get to the 4,000? Or are you going to get to 10 million views?
Well, I think I'm hoping to get the 4,000 also. I'd love to get that in the next month and a half. So that's what I'm working on. But realistically, it'll probably take another 3 months or so.
Yeah. Well, it took our YouTube channel forever because all of our videos were super short, and so um, it wasn't until recently, maybe 6 or so months ago, even though we have 20,000 followers, um, at that time it might have been like 5,000 followers because recently it's gone up. But I mean, we were well past the 1,000 mark, but like all of our videos were really short, so it took
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah, I'm hoping I've got some longer form stuff coming out. I'm hoping that does well. And
Yeah, because you got, let's see, 2 minutes. Yeah, all these are like a little under 5 minutes. So, I mean, way longer than the videos we were publishing. They were all shorts.
yeah, so I'm
Most of
hoping
them.
I can get it because I don't want to get 10 million shorts views. That's crazy. I do make shorts because I think they're fun. That's kind of part of my content strategy. I found this computer on Facebook Marketplace. That CPU alone is going for $290 on eBay.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's pretty fun. So kind of
That's,
just funds my hobby of tinkering and messing around with computers.
I didn't know. So do you do hardware and software?
Mostly hardware right now,
Okay.
and it's focused a lot on like video game performance because that's like mostly what people watch. So
Like on
this is
YouTube, you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the most interesting stuff. So I talk a lot about like if you're building a computer to play games, this is like what you're gonna want to look for.
And people just want it to run faster? Is that the main thing that they want?
Yeah, they want it to. Well, there's a couple things. You got frames per second targets that people like to hit, so they want to know if it's gonna hit those goals at the resolution they're playing at, so 1080p or 4K or 2K, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Good.
So just talk about the parts, say this is what it can hit at these different kind of target levels and what you're going to be looking for. I mean, there's like graphic designers and stuff who use the same thing, but it's not as big of an audience. Like most people aren't, casual people aren't watching that type of stuff. So
Sure. I've always had it, like a hard time buying stuff online. Is it pretty easy for you?
oh yeah, dude, I just got a killer deal yesterday. I was in St. George, and I got 3 computers that are worth probably like $1,100 between them for 500.
What?
So that's my next video. After I'm done talking to you, I'm working on making that video. So,
Dude, that's awesome. And do you do all the editing and stuff?
yeah.
That's really fun. Yeah, what's the secret to finding a good deal on Facebook?
To be honest, it's the ones that look like scams.
What?
Yeah.
And they aren't
My-
scams?
My best deals are the ones where the photos are blurry. They don't tell you anything about the specs of the computer. And like they've got no profile picture and the listing's been up for like a month. And a lot of them are scams, but there's enough people out there who just suck at Facebook
Yeah.
and they don't know how to like sell it that you can. So obviously you got to like know like once you start talking to them, you got to be able to figure out if it's a scam or not. But yeah, that's honestly been my best way to do it. Blurry photos. The English kind of sucks. You know, because most people look at that and they're like, "Oh, this is like obviously a guy just trying to scam me."
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty risky with it. And like obviously, I never send them money until I go look at the computer. So
how many out of the so you message them, you find out a little bit more, and then if you're like, this isn't a scam, let me go. Then you go to their house, or what do you do?
I always try to go at their house because if something's actually wrong, you know where they live. you know, and you can go like knock on their door. But if they meet you at like Walmart parking lot, right, and they say, "Oh, it's a working computer," and then you get home and it's busted, you can't track them down because they'll just block your number and
For
can't
sure.
ever find them. So that's like another way I used to like, is this guy scamming me? If they're willing to let me come to their house, that means they're putting trust in what they're selling, right?
Yeah.
They're saying, this is what I'm saying it is, because now you know where I live, and
Yeah.
you really wanted to, you could get the cops involved and whatever. So that's one thing I try and always do.
Out of the amount of houses that you go to, how many have been like scams? How many of you actually followed through and bought? What's the percentage there?
Like 80%.
Oh wow.
Pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like by the time I'm going to a house, like I've usually sussed enough out information out that I can tell like I'm probably going to end up buying this.
Yeah.
And because I know a lot about computers, I can kind of figure out what the parts are without them having like actually telling. Because a lot of people just don't know what's in their computer because they just know, oh, it works, right? It plays my game. That's all I know.
For sure.
But I can tell just by like looking at the pictures, I can get a good idea of what the parts are and what the value is going to be before going.
Yeah.
Usually I'll ask them like, hey, could you send me a better picture or whatever? And if they do, then I can kind of figure out like how much I think it's going to be worth. And I try and do a lot of the price negotiation up front and just say, look, this is what I think it's worth. So it's a done
Before
deal.
you go to their house?
Yeah. So it's usually like the deal's like 90% of the way done. I just go to their house just to verify that it's all correct.
Oh, okay.
And then, and plus if I'm at their house, they can turn it on right in front of me. I don't have to like just take it from a parking lot and say, I trust that this turns on.
Yeah.
So that's usually what I do. I go to their house, have them turn it on. If it turns on, then I just buy it. No questions asked after that usually.
Wow. And how many of them have been duds? Have any of them?
I had one that I bought that was a dud. In terms of, I probably overpaid a little bit. So.
But I mean, it still worked and everything.
Yeah, I was able. It like still turned on and it like worked, but the parts weren't as. Once I dug into it, the parts weren't as good as I thought they were. So.
Okay.
Like that was a mistake on my part, not on the guy's part. So.
Then
I probably should have done a little more due diligence, but.
Gotcha. And I'm sure you're getting better and better the more you do it. How do you sell it? Because buying is one thing, selling is another, and I suck at both of them online when it comes to like cars or we're trying to sell a boat or whatever. How do you sell it?
Another thing, be ruthless when you're buying. Like lowball the heck out of them. That's what I do.
Oh, really?
Like, a lot of times they'll come in and ask for like 50% off.
What?
Just to see, and usually they'll be like, no. And then they'll give me like the price I actually want. So like I always like, I have the price I want, and then I lowball them like way lower than that. So I have room to come up, negotiate up to that price.
That is a really good strategy. I've heard that before.
Like,
I've heard that before.
Like they're just gonna say no, or they're gonna ignore you, right? Like you're not losing out on anything. It's not like they're ever gonna see you face to face if they say no. So, and if they say yes, then they're happy with it. So
that's super funny.
But then selling, like, dude, you gotta have good pictures. That's like the biggest thing. Get good pictures. The computers, I list every part out so people can see all the parts and can go like look up the value themselves. Because I'm not trying to scam anybody and sell a $500 computer for $1,000, right? Like, if it's $500, it's $500, and that's what I try and sell it for.
Yeah.
But
your strategy is buy it half the price and then sell it for the normal price.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, you're also fixing it up.
Yeah, so usually, like, I'll fix it up, I'll upgrade the RAM, or maybe put a better graphics card or whatever it needs. So, because I'm buying so many deals, I just got a bunch of parts. So I kind of mix and match stuff to make
Yeah.
it better. A lot of times you'll see people have mismatched parts, like they'll have a graphics card that's like way overpowered for the computer that it's in, or they'll have an underpowered part compared to their graphics card or stuff like that.
Mm.
So that's another way to make money is to get the parts so that they like mesh better
Yeah.
and everything like is about the same power level and like works pretty good in terms of specs. But yeah, I take good pictures. I list all the parts out. I run benchmarks in like the most popular games, and I just throw them in there. And I say, "Look, you buy this computer, this is what you're going to get in Fortnite, or this is what you're going to get in Call of Duty, or this is what you're going to get in um, Red Dead Redemption, or whatever the popular games are at the moment." So that people can just see right there, like, hey, this is everything that it does. Does it do what I want it to? Yeah, and then they buy it, and I meet up with them. Usually, I drop it off. I have the rule: I only buy it if it's at a person's house, but I don't want people coming to my house.
Yeah,
So I'm kind of hypocritical there a little
for
bit.
sure.
So
Are you ever worried?
reviews.
Are you ever worried that they're just like they go to a friend's house or something and it's not their actual house, and then the person's like, it's not, or is that just kind of a risk?
I just kind of take that risk. Plus, like if it's a friend's house, like I can still, I can find the friend and put some pressure on the friend or whatever,
I gotcha.
or. But usually, I just know enough about the parts to know whether. Also, I have like I'm good enough. I can sense the risk, right? Like if I think this is going to be a dumb computer or not, like if the parts won't work. But yeah, so then usually I just go drop it off at the person's house when I sell it. I show them like, this is how you set it up. I'll turn it on for them if they want to see it. I'll send them videos of it
Yeah,
playing a game or whatever they want
yeah,
to see. And I usually always ask for them to give me a review. So I have good reviews on Facebook, so people trust me more, right? Because I don't know, they say I'm a top rated seller. I have that little like badge.
Oh, that's
So
cool. You could put that on your resume or something. Top rated.
yeah, so basically that just means I've sold to enough people that have said, hey, this guy's legit. He's not scamming you.
Yep.
So that helps when other people are looking at it. So,
Yep.
but yeah, there's always the risk I get burnt. So I went through, I've got like 7 computers in my office right now that I'm working on.
7. Wow. How long does it usually take to sell?
Some of them I've sold in like 2 days. Some of them it's 2 weeks. Just kind of depends.
Wow.
Right now it's slowed down because everybody got stuff for Christmas.
Mm,
They got all their gifts and
gotcha.
spent all their money. And
How do you think the economy is going to affect that business? Like the economy's going down. It seems like it's going to continue going down as far as like overall people are going to be spending. Do you think it's going to affect what you're doing much?
I think these are definitely luxury goods. So I just try and I keep my turnaround times pretty quick. By the time, like after I buy it, like I try and have it at least ready to sell within like 2 or 3 days. And then I'll list it. Usually, I might have a 2 or 3 up to a couple weeks turnaround time for it to sell. So then I can finish my video filming process once it's listed. But I like to get it listed pretty quickly. And I like to list for pretty good prices. So like I try and give people like slightly under the market value of what it's worth
Mm,
if I bought it at a good deal. Because that does 2 things. Like one, I want to pass it on to somebody, because a lot of people who buy it are like teenagers from me actually,
sure.
and so I want to help them out, right? Like it's a hobby, and I want to make sure that people get a good deal on the prices. But because I got a good price on it, I can do that. I don't have to sell it
For
for
sure.
value,
For sure.
and I care more about getting rid of it because it's fast. I want it out of my pocket because prices on luxury goods, go down when the economy is kind of going. So
Yeah, for sure.
and used computer, and it just depreciates the older it gets. So I just try and move it as quick as possible, give people a pretty good price, which is why it's really important for me to get it for a good price. Usually I'm not buying for things like 50% off all the time, but I try and get them, within the fair market. Like I want to give the sellers a good deal too. Like, so I try and give people what I think is reasonable, but definitely on the low end of reasonable.
For sure.
And so that I can sell people more at the mid range of reasonable when I go to sell it.
For sure.
So I'm only making like maybe $100 on a computer.
And how many usually do a month?
Last month I just did 2. This month I've got 7 already that I'm working on because there's been some pretty good deals on Facebook Marketplace. So I've got a bunch that I'm like trying to get rid of right now.
Yeah.
I bought 4 yesterday. So, and then I have 3 previous ones that I was working on. So
yeah.
So yeah, I got a bunch of stuff to get through. So I'll probably only do these ones this month because that'll give me. I'll have content forever.
For sure.
It's all going to be content that I'll be making for this whole month.
So on the YouTube channel, well, one other question on buying and selling, is it the same? Like what similarities and differences have you seen with like buying and selling a car or a house versus buying and selling computers?
Well, like your money is made when you buy something, right? And that's true with a house. Like you want to buy the house at the lowest possible price you can buy, or your car, you want to buy a car for the best possible price you can get. Because really, if you overpay on your house, it's going to take a long time to recover from that when you need to sell, right? Or same thing with the computer. If I pay too much when I buy it, means I might eat a loss when I go to sell it, right? So your purchase price is key to everything, and that means you got to be good at negotiating. And I personally find it's win-win with negotiating is the best tactic. I don't like operating out of like I want to win and you lose, like just take advantage of someone.
For sure.
I want to make sure everybody's happy, and that's why with these computer deals, I kind of look for the ones that have been on the market for 8 weeks, and I'm like, this guy probably just wants to get rid of it. And when people just want to get rid of something, they're willing to take a little bit less cash because they're like, I just want the cash and I don't want it in my house anymore.
And nobody else is willing to buy it either.
And nobody else is willing to buy it, and that might be, maybe the pictures were blurry, or it's a newer Facebook account. It's got kind of maybe some of the red flags that scammer accounts have. I message them anyways. And so sometimes they're just like, hey man, like, yeah, I'll get rid of it for cheap because I just want it gone. So a lot of times I'll try and message them and do same day pickup, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you give me a good deal on this, I can come today and get, you can have your money and it can be off your plate.
Does it matter? Does it matter why they sell? I know with some things like, so why are you selling the car? Oh, we just downsize. We're just downsizing, but it's like a red flag. Does it matter why?
On the computers, not necessarily. I don't really care if it turns on and it works. Like some people just need cash. They're trying to buy something else, or maybe they need to pay rent or whatever. Some people upgraded their computer to something better and they don't need a second one sitting around, so they're just trying to, get rid of it, maybe have that upgrade price on their new computer kind of brought down because they were able to sell their old computer.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people do that. They'll go buy $1,000 computer, sell their old one for $500, and then really they're only out $500 on the new computer, but they got a good upgrade.
Sure.
So, yeah, I don't really care too much why people are selling the computers. for cars and like houses, yeah. Care a little bit more. Those questions can kind of help you on those bigger ticket items, see if maybe there's something wrong with it. Or sometimes, like, I'll come across a computer seller and they're like, "Yeah, I'm selling it because it's broke. Like, I can't get it to turn on, or I can't whatever." And
Yep.
then that will help me. A lot of times, if I can get them to describe the symptoms of what happened before it broke, it can kind of help me know like what broke on it. Because usually it's only one computer part that's broken, and if the rest is good, then I might get a good deal on it. So I look at stuff like that too. I guess if someone says, "Hey, it's broken," or "It's got a problem,"
Sure.
sometimes the problem's just, you need new RAM or you need a new power supply, and both of those are pretty easy fixes. But the person doesn't want to deal with it, and
Yeah.
because they've already bought one or whatever, and they're just wanting to get rid of something and get a little cash out of it.
Sure.
So,
About as far as the YouTube channel, what are your goals there? I know in the next 3 months, 4 months, your goal is to be monetized. What's the goal long term there? Kind of what's the vision for the channel?
yeah, so I have this paired with some philanthropic and
Okay.
eco-friendly goals that
Okay.
I want to do. There's a lot of people in the States that don't actually have access to a computer, lower income families.
Yep.
But my goal is to get the YouTube channel big enough where I can fund like a computer repair and recycling shop locally here.
Okay.
So I want to have a building where one I film, so people can either bring in broken computers and recycle them with us, and we'll kind of test them and take the parts that work and recycle them, and then send the parts that are broken to a electronic recycling facility to reduce e-waste, because there's a lot of the heavy metals and stuff that just go into the dump, and that's not good to sit there when they can be melted down and recycled and turned into a new computer or a new whatever.
Sure.
And a lot of people don't know how to recycle their computers, so they just throw it in the dumpster. So I want to help with that and take that wing. But then I also want to take some of these computers and donate them and set up like a nonprofit wing that helps lower income people get access to a computer, which can be life changing if they want to take online college or whatever they want to do. Just getting access to the internet can really help people. So I want to set up a nonprofit that way that helps low-income individuals and families get computers that will work and help them be more of a part of the digital world. So that's kind of the long-term goal. I want the YouTube channel to kind of help with that, bring awareness to those sides of it, but I need the funding to do that.
Sure.
And then, of course, I'm hoping to turn it into like a thing that I can do more full-time.
For sure. Do you think, and I mean, I want to get into this in a second as well, because I didn't even know you were doing these other two things of kind of fixing up computers, reselling them, and then also doing the YouTube channel. Do you want these the local repair shop and also donating the computers? Do you want, and the YouTube channel, do you want that to be more of the long term what you want to be doing, or do you also want to be doing the ad agency rental properties as well?
So I believe in diversified income streams.
Okay.
So I'm going to maintain my rental income, the ad agency, things like that on the side. I probably, for the computer repair side, once it gets big enough, I'm going to hire techs to do that.
Yeah.
And things like that. So it's going to be, I'll bring people in.
Sure.
To help with that. But yeah, I'm continuing to want to expand real estate investing in rental properties. And then I'm expanding my marketing business as well at the moment. So I've got a lot of growth happening and going on.
That's so exciting. Your vision for the YouTube channel, so you wanna do repair shop, donate computers. As far as the YouTube channel, where do you want to be in the next 2, 5, 10 years as far as like subscribers and and revenue from that.
This is the big goal, but I think it could be really cool to hit the million subscriber mark by 5 years.
Oh, easy.
So
Yeah,
So
you see a lot of these channels in 2 years. I mean, there are some channels that like there are channels that hit it and channels that don't, and some of them are. I feel like the channels that are dedicated and that are constantly getting better and that are giving content that people want to see, like they'll hit a million in a year, 2 years. So
yeah.
I think that's definitely very reasonable.
So I think that's possible, and then I think it would be great to you hear all sorts of figures on what YouTubers make or whatnot, but I think it'd be cool to hit six figs with it. I mean, really, the sky can kind of be the limit depending on what you do. If you throw in a merch store, if you throw in, you know, sponsorships, things like that, affiliate marketing. So I do have some affiliate marketing links set up through the Amazon affiliate program. I haven't made any money off that yet, but I'm hoping to bring some money in from that as well.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get up to six figs on the YouTube channel. And that would be phenomenal. I also really like the YouTube channel because you put out a video, right, and it keeps earning money. As long as it's a relevant video that people want to watch, like, there are videos on the platform that are like 15 years old, but still eligible to make money because they're so cool.
Yeah, it's different. It's different in that way because it's search based. It's different than Facebook or Instagram or TikTok because those, it's like only the relevant videos are being seen. But YouTube, it's all of the videos.
Yeah, it has both, right? You can find them all sorts of ways. So I think that's cool about YouTube. Real estate, I think, has always been a great way to grow wealth and net income. And I think it will always continue to be that way. So that's definitely a place I want to expand. I have one rental right now. I kind of do the buy a property, live in it, fix it up for 2 years, and then buy another property and rent the old property out. Method is what I do. So a little slower paced maybe than some other real estate investing methods out there, but that's the one that works for my situation and my family. So we've got one rental, we got it listed, and it got renters in it, and it's been going great. So
I wanna get into the rental, but I had just maybe two other questions on YouTube, and then I really want to get in depth on the rental aspect. Because I might be getting into real estate myself, but just to know. One is I believe it was 80% of the total users on YouTube are men. Have you heard that?
no, but my 96.5% of my viewers are men.
Yeah.
So,
96, serious?
yeah, over 96% of my audience on YouTube is men that watch my videos.
Let's see what yeah, I mean this. Yeah, it says YouTube demographics indicate 78% out of all American males watched the platform. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I don't know where exactly it was, but I'm pretty sure I saw it was or heard it was 80% of men. My question was, it's not really business related, but why do you think that is? Why it seems like women are more like up to date and maybe more trendy, and then men are more like searching things. Do you think that has to do with like men more want to fix things and like have to search it, and women are more like what's going on in the world? Do you have an idea there?
No, I don't think I have any good insights there. Just personally, I use YouTube a lot for how-to guides.
Me too.
As a man, like if I'm looking to fix my car or something's wrong, I go how to do this, or I
Yeah.
want to do a home project. I type in how to, remodel your bathroom, or even with computers, I do a lot of stuff like how to fix this computer problem or whatever. So that's how I personally use it. Is a lot of learning how to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that might be, but I know you're a recent YouTuber, so I thought you might have some good insights there.
Yeah, I just know my audience is mostly men. Seems
Yeah.
like for some
Yeah.
reason building computers and playing video games has always been a male dominated industry. Um, so that's reflected in my analytics for sure.
Okay. Jumping into real estate. So you lived in your first home, right? You bought
Yeah.
it, lived in it for how long? Did you live in it for 2 years?
Yeah.
Lived in it for 2 years, and then kept it, bought another home, and then rented it out, right?
Yeah.
And how did you do the first time buyer loan, right? What is that called?
There's like 0% down loans. There's a whole bunch of
Yeah,
different first time homebuyer
yeah.
programs you can do.
Well, yeah.
We did a
What did you
rural.
guys? Yeah, what did you guys do?
I think we did USDA rural loan just because
Okay.
of where we live. They have a USDA first time homebuyers program. So we did 0% down on our home. I think we only paid, I remember right, to get into the home, it was like $1,600 out of pocket.
0.
1,600.
You did 0% down.
0% down. It was
What?
1,600. We had a $1,000 earnest deposit, which I guess applied to the loan. So 1,000 bucks, and then $600 in processing fees.
What the heck? That's cheaper than getting into an apartment.
Yeah. And the mortgage was the same as we could rent at the time. So we purposely bought, they had approved us for a $300,000 loan, and we only took out 140. So
They approved you for how much?
$300,000 is what we could have got,
Okay.
but we only spent 140 on the house.
Okay.
So we bought a house that was really tiny. It was only 2 bedrooms, 800 square feet. I knew that we would hate living in it because it was so small. So that kind of gave us the motivation to, move out and actually work towards our goal. But the reason, honestly, we were able to do it is because we bought well below our means, and we bought a house that was a starter house. And it was a fixer up. We didn't go out and buy our dream house right off the bat. So we had room in our debt to equity, or debt to income ratio when we were applying for another mortgage. We also we had some luck with the market timing because we bought in 2019. Then of course home prices went crazy with COVID. So we were able to actually cash out refinance to a lower interest rate.
Yeah,
And
I remember you telling me about that because recently I looked up the I don't have it up right now, but I looked up interest rates because interest rates are going up, right? And everyone's like, oh yeah, interest rates they're so high, and they were at almost zero for like I don't know a couple of years, and they had like a little spike, but they were essentially zero. But looking at the history of interest rates, they were like back in the past, like they were super high. Like I think it was 1980, they were 19%,
yep.
and it was like now it's like we're at 5% right now. I think a little bit above 5%, and everyone's like losing their minds. Which I mean, yeah, it's high, but not in comparison. It's like this one was like 4 times as high,
Yeah.
it never even got low. It was like 10%, 15, 10, 5, 19, and it was like everything was above 7% up until like 2000, 2008, I think. So you guys, I just remember hearing about you telling me, yeah, we got it, we refinanced and got like the close to 0% or whatever, is super low
Yeah.
rate.
We got a low rate, and we were able to pull the cash out to put a down payment on our next house. So we were kind of lucky with the timing there.
Yeah,
And then I got a job that paid more, so that helped with our income and things like that. So we had a couple things really work for us, but there's a lot of people who have low interest rates that are never going to sell because, I mean, if you've got an interest rate below 4%, it doesn't make sense to pay it off early because you could just throw your money in the stock market and conservatively earn 4%, right? Usually it's closer to 6%. So like you're better off putting your money in the stock market for most people who bought during those low rates than they are paying their house off early.
for sure.
That's just looking at the numbers. Obviously, there's an emotional benefit to being debt free, things like that, and some people might value that more, which is okay. That's an okay path. I want to be debt free, and so I'll probably end up hopefully paying some stuff off early, even though I've got the lower rates. But
For sure.
that's more of a personal emotional value than it is looking at the math
For sure.
value. So, and I think some people discount your emotional happiness and well-being
No,
in
yeah.
your financial decisions, but you got to include that. So, so we were able to buy it. We got the money to fix it up and put a down payment on our house, and then we got it rented. Actually, we got it rented in like 6 hours after throwing it up on the market.
6 hours.
So maybe I listed listed it for too low of a rental price, but
I was just talking to my cousin. He's in Cedar City as well. He rented out 4 rooms for like a college apartment, and he said the exact same thing up in Cedar. He rented out the beginning of, maybe it was like the beginning of this past semester. So I think you guys rented it before, but he said the same thing, put it up, and he had like 40 responses right away.
Yeah.
And
it was insane.
yeah,
We had a qualified applicant. We took the first qualified applicant that met all of our stuff and passed their background check and everything, and then it's been great ever since.
So do you guys do the property management, or do you have a company that does that?
I manage it myself right now. I use a platform called Avail. It's really easy. It's what I listed it through. It handled all the applications for me. It handles rent payments. They do maintenance requests through there. So it makes it really easy. And since I'm still close in the same city, if I need to hire a contractor or whatever to go work on it, it's really easy.
Yeah. How often are there issues with the house? There's a repair or something.
We've only had one issue since, and that was because we had a big windstorm that damaged some shingles on the roof, so we had to just repair some shingles. So nothing the tenants did or anything inside the house. So it's been pretty good, and it was a pretty cheap fix.
For sure. What do you cash flow on that apartment? Or on that house, I should say.
Currently cash flowing $400 a month off of it.
Dude, that's awesome. Good for you.
So,
because a lot of people when they rent it out, they don't factor in all the different expenses, and then they end up just breaking even or even losing money on it.
Because you got insurance, you got taxes, you got repairs. You need to factor in vacancy rates for if you have a tenant vacate and how much money you need in the bank to cover that.
Yeah.
Things like that. So, yeah, we have good cash flow coming in, and I think a lot of people discount they're building the equity up in the property.
True.
Because every month they pay, the the loan amount goes down, which means that I have more equity to be able to access or pull from
Yeah.
if I ever need to.
And if you ever pulled equity out of the home, that would be through refinancing, right?
Or a home equity loan. They
Okay.
have home equity loans that you can put on.
Would you have to get the current day interest rates, or could you keep your interest rate from before?
So home equity loans typically do a variable interest rate is the way those work.
Mm.
So, and that's basically like, look, I have a house, simple math, that's worth $100,000. I owe 50 grand. They say, okay, so you have $50,000 equity. You can pull 80% of that equity out at any time, and you just kind of have it's like a credit card, but on your house, kind of. So it does have variable rates. If you did the refi, the cash out refi, then you'd be stuck at whatever rates were. And you would have to probably refi into an investment loan, which has higher mortgage rates.
Gotcha.
If you buy the house and live in it and rent it out, as long as you live in it for, usually most loans have a minimum of 12 months that you have to live in it before you can rent it or whatever.
Sure.
But once you do that, you can rent it out and keep your same mortgage on it usually.
Gotcha.
So,
Unless you're
obviously consult a professional. Every situation's different. Not financial advice. But
Good point. So your guys' strategy is live in a house 2 years and then hopefully upgrade to another house and rent that other one out, and you're gonna over 10 years you have 5 houses, let's say. Is that kind of the idea?
that's our goal. Whether it actually happens that way or not is up to the market
Sure.
and what's going on. So, but yeah, that's kind of our goal.
Good for you guys. Do you ever I guess this isn't maybe not with the real estate because it's more you guys doing this, but going into now looking at your ad agency, but then also looking at your YouTube channel, the computer repairs. Do you ever want to take on a partner into that, or do you want to do these things on your own?
No, I just do them on my own with my wife.
Yeah.
She's my partner.
How much
I would hire someone in to come manage,
Okay.
but I don't want to take on somebody who also owns part of the business.
Okay. Yeah, what are your thoughts there? What's your philosophy with partner? I know you talked about your wife being your partner. What's your idea?
Well, I don't want to bring anyone external on because then you have different goals and objectives, and there's a lot of horror stories of partners having different thoughts about what way to go and then ruining friendships, things like that with money. So it just adds a lot of complexity if you're doing it with a friend, and then if you're doing it with just other investors, then you have legal complexities of how you set it up and then the obligations you have to fulfill those expectations and things like that. I personally just don't want to deal with the headache. I was able to get out of school with no debt because I got a scholarship, and I worked like 3 jobs while I was in college and things like that to pay for everything. So I'm in a position where I don't necessarily need outside funding to do the goals that I want to do.
Yeah.
If I've never been in a position where I needed to take on a partnership and I didn't want to have that. I guess I shouldn't say that. I did start my marketing agency with a partner, with a friend, and then I bought him out fairly quickly after we launched it.
Okay.
So just because they wanted to go on to other goals, so they wanted to get out of the business, and they wanted to sell their equity shares, and I said, let me buy them, and I bought them off of them, and they went on to their other life goals, and then I didn't want to take on a partner again. So,
Sure. That totally makes sense. So tell me about the ad agency. When you started up, I mean, I used you, so I used you a couple times. Tell me a little bit about how you started that up, that story.
Well, I think when we did it, it cost about $500 to start up. Dude, I'm all into the low. Use as little of my money as possible to start a business.
Yeah.
Um, we just set it up. We filed the articles of incorporation, set up our LLC, everything, and then we started by word of mouth originally with the agency, just with local friends and businesses, and then I'm still mostly word of mouth. I don't really run ads for myself. I just go off of referrals of my network, and I built up, I think, a good enough reputation that people are willing to refer me to their friends and colleagues, and it's worked well so far. Doing that way.
Yeah. That's awesome that it's been so well that it's a lot of it is word of mouth, because that's the best form of marketing, right? If you can get other people marketing for free for you.
Yeah. So, and then I've had some clients, I've been working with them for 3 years now. So obviously I'm doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, I've got pretty good client retention, I think. And I tried to be different. I don't lock people into contracts or anything in terms of how long they have to use my services. So try and be really attentive to the needs of the business that's contracting with my company.
Sure.
Which is different than a lot of ad agencies, because a lot of them just have a formula that they apply to every business, and they do things the same way because they're taking on so many clients, and sometimes you lose out on the personal touch. And I decided to maybe have my agency be a little smaller than some other areas, but I thought the personal touch was very important to me, taking care of businesses. So that's where I've kind of chose to stay.
Yeah. What are your goals with the ad agency? Where do you wanna end up?
Yeah, so I'm reaching a point where I think it's probably time I need to hire someone to help me out. So I want to bring in and train somebody to assist. So that's a goal that I have. And then I want to get this year, I want to expand 5 more clients. It's not a really big goal. I'm not scaling as much as maybe I could be in the business, but I have other areas in my life that I'm focusing on, like the real estate and the YouTube channel. And that's a healthy growth goal that will also allow me to pursue my other passions and interests. So that's where I'm at. I've kind of narrowed down into the 3 areas, and I'm sticking into those 3 areas. When I was younger, I was like, I'd try anything to do for money. I was always trying new ways to earn and new industries and things. And now I've picked my 3 focus goals that also function as my hobbies, because they're just things that I'm personally interested in, like the computer building, and it's been a hobby of mine. And now I found a way to kind of at least fund that and make a little bit of money. So it's nice. I try and do things that I love and I enjoy, so I don't burn out.
For
I
sure.
think a lot of people sometimes just pick what's going to make me the most money, and they don't really have the passion for it. So everything I've consolidated into are things that I've had a consistent passion for over the years.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. That each of the businesses you're really passionate about, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then they let me kind of set my own schedule so I can be with my family more flexibly if we've got family stuff going on, and it's really nice.
Who have been like some of your mentors? Have you had like some good business mentors over the years?
Well, the great YouTube is always a good mentor.
For sure.
There's lots of free information that I get out there. My dad has been a good mentor. He's taught me how to do a lot of stuff. And then I've got my uncle as well, who's started successful businesses that I have been mentored by as well. So mostly family.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I had some college professors that were really helpful with me gaining skills. They helped me learn the skills for marketing specifically that I needed and things like that. So the two consistent mentors have been my dad and my uncle. So
That's really cool. With your dad and your uncle, have you ever like set up like something ongoing? Because I know for myself, like I'm looking for mentors, people that are at where I want to be, right? So I can model them. Because there are books and videos and things like that, but I think there's another step where it's like you're interacting like we are right now, where I can ask questions, whereas like a book or a video, it's not as interactive. Have you ever set something up where it's like consistent, like every week or once a month or something, where you meet with them and you just talk? Or
no, not consistently.
okay,
My dad, we talk fairly consistently about stuff,
sure,
and it's just part of our conversation, and it always has been. Talked about business and things like that, and that's a big part of our relationship. So pretty much every time I talk to him, we talk about these subjects, whether it's real estate or other businesses. And then my uncle is more, I use him when I have to make big decisions in my businesses, and I will just kind of call him up and
for
then
sure.
talk to him and ask questions interactively based on his experience. So not super consistent for me, but
At the same time, when you've needed help, you have two guys that you can go to.
yeah. So because they're family, it's a little different, right? Like I can just go. Like I don't feel like I need to get on their calendar or set an appointment up with them. If it was somebody outside my family, then yeah, I think it'd be more consistent.
For sure. What videos, what YouTube channels, what books have helped you get to where you are now?
Excuse me. So I read a lot of like Dave Ramsey's real estate stuff. I started out with, and I think it's good advice for beginners, but there's also some stuff I'm a little more aggressive in the use of debt than Dave Ramsey might recommend. So he's been good. Gosh, like I'm totally blanking. Now that you asked me,
You got like 5 bookshelves behind you. It looks like they're full of all these books.
One that's really good. This one's just good just for business in general, whatever, like the leadership challenge. It's
The
gonna be
leadership
blurry.
challenge. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's a
haven't heard of
good
that
one. The zigzag principle I really like. These aren't necessarily like books on like specific real estate stuff. They're more like mindset books
Yeah.
that I think have really affected me and helped me out. So those have helped. Like Atomic Habits was another book that really helped me.
Yeah.
Because I think if you're going to be successful, you need to have a structured life that's organized. And so most of my stuff has been from that, and then the rest of it's been like either watching stuff on YouTube or just doing it myself.
Sure.
Or like when I was doing my mortgage, like I had no idea what I was doing. So I asked around to my friends and I found a good mortgage guy, and like I made him my team, and they were the ones who I took advice from because, I'm not a mortgage expert, but they are. So I hired a good mortgage guy to do my mortgage stuff, and I hired a good accountant to do my accountant stuff, and I hired a good lawyer to set up like my legal entities and things like that. So that's been honestly what's most successful for me, is knowing when I need to just not learn about something and just go hire someone.
For sure.
That's their expertise.
How do you tell personally the difference between when you need to learn it versus when you need to hire a professional?
Well, one is like the risks. How much risk am I willing to take on? So like like with lawyers and stuff, I'm not willing to take on some of those risks. And so I want that set up good. Or like my taxes now, I don't want to take on the risk of making a mistake because I don't know the tax code that well. So a lot of it's like the risk, and a lot of it's like, what is the payout curve? Like, how much time do I have to put into this to actually be good enough at it and to have the knowledge I need? And if it's a long time, then maybe my time's better spent elsewhere, and I just go hire someone else. And then a lot of it, like just personally, this is kind of, it's hard because you got to make these personal decisions. But it's like, what do I know already? What am I interested in? And am I interested in learning that? And a lot of times the answer is like, no, I don't want to learn about how to be a lawyer or how to do taxes. Really, like I just have no interest in it.
For sure.
And that's a big factor in it as well. Like, is this something that I would get enjoyment out of learning and doing? No. Is it going to take me a long time to do? Yeah. Probably should hire someone. Is there a big risk of me getting a legal fine or, losing my assets or something if I do it incorrectly? The answer is yes. And then I bring someone in, usually, is how I go about it. Because those are does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Those are the questions I ask myself.
Yeah, no, for sure. That totally makes sense. What's your investment strategy? You're starting to make some more cash flow, starting to have some more cash. What would you say either right now or in the near future? Well, what's your investment strategy? Like you have your own businesses, so I mean I'm sure you're investing in those. But do you invest in anything else?
Crypto, man.
Yeah?
I am a big crypto guy.
Okay. Crypto. Tell us, I don't know that much about, like I've heard a little bit about crypto. I'm not that educated. Tell me about why you're invested in crypto.
Well, not financial advice. Gotta put this disclaimer here.
We're gonna put a huge red banner across your face saying not a financial advisor.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is for entertainment purposes only. But I like crypto. I like the decentralized nature of it. There's a lot of stuff that governments do to the money supply
Yeah,
to affect different outcomes that they want in the economy.
for sure.
Whether that's good or bad, I'm not going to make a comment on. But I like the decentralized nature of crypto and how really like I can send Bitcoin to someone across the globe. I don't have to pay a wire fee. I do have to pay the network fees on Bitcoin or whatever platform or crypto I'm sending it on. But I can send it to them. It's quick. It's easy. They get the cash. They can do whatever they want with it.
Is it instantaneous?
Some networks are pretty instantaneous, a couple seconds. Some take a couple hours.
Because that's what I've noticed. That's what I've noticed with the banking is that like it takes 2 or 3 days for money to come in the account. Like if you're using Square, then it's 2 or 3 days, or you can pay whatever an extra fee. That's usually, I mean, you're already paying the fee to have them charge the credit card, and then you have to pay an additional fee. It's not instantaneous. Or if I send money from account to account, there's usually a day or two lag. But with crypto, I don't even get how there is a lag because it's online.
Well, so
what's the
it
difference?
depends on how they work. So like Bitcoin needs to be validated by the miners. So there's a decentralized network of computers that are all doing math to verify that the transactions are accurate. So sometimes you can get slowed down by that depending on how many transactions are going, how heavy the network's on. But there are other platforms that are faster, that are more instant. So within like a second, So kind of depends on what crypto you're doing. There's different cryptos, right? There's cryptos that are meant to be a store of value. There's cryptos that are meant to be a means of exchange, like transferring back and forth really quick, things like that. So kind of depends on what cryptocurrency you're using and what it's built for. But yeah, you can transfer some cryptos pretty instantly. And you don't, like, usually the fees are cheaper than a wire fee. A wire to someone, you're paying $25, $30. Sometimes, depending on what network, sometimes it's couple cents. Sometimes it could be like $15. Just depends on what network you're doing. But yeah, super fast. It's decentralized. I do a little crypto mining myself, so I have income coming in from that.
What?
Um,
A man of
and
many talents. I did not know you were doing so many different things.
yeah, so that kind of ties in with the computer stuff. But
Okay. That's why
um,
you want so many computers. I see where it comes in.
nah, not entirely, but yeah. So I like crypto. I think it's good. I I think it's like the .com era, right? Everybody's piling in. It's big. It's exciting. There's probably only going to be a couple that survive.
Okay. That was one of my next questions because I've heard something similar where like there are thousands of different cryptos and then after it's all said and done, maybe 2 or 3 are the top dogs.
Yeah. So that's probably what's going to happen. I have some. This is all pure speculation, and I know. So I don't risk all my assets into this, right? But I want a piece of that pie. So I have some that I've done research on and I like, and those are the ones I invest in and purchase to
Yeah.
hold.
So what's because there's Bitcoin because that's like the main, is that like the main one or that was like
That
the
was the
first
first
one?
one, yeah.
The very
That's
first
the
one.
biggest one. It's Bitcoin.
Okay. And then there's Ethereum and there's
Yep.
a few others that are really big. What you talked about, some of them are meant for storing value, some of them are meant for trade. Do you think that blockchain is the future, or what's the other kind? There's blockchain and then there's something else. So blockchain
Well,
has to like verify from 2 separate computers and they have like the same.
yeah, and it fills a block and it's a big chain of
Yeah.
transactions.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much how most of the cryptos are done. There's a
Okay.
new one that's on like a DAG chain that's slightly different, but most of them are all blockchain
Okay.
cryptos. I think blockchain is pretty cool, and I think it will be a big part of tech going forward. So, but maybe none of the cryptos we know will be the ones that make it, right? Like,
Okay. Okay. So essentially you're banking on with your crypto strategy, if I understand you correctly, you're banking on that one of the cryptos that you invest in will be one that survives, or what is your plan, buy and sell? Are you planning on holding it long term? What is your strategy there?
there's some that I hold long term and some that are more midterm plays. So right, we're in a crypto bear market at the moment, crypto winter.
Yeah.
A lot of things are down significantly from their all-time highs.
Yeah.
I think when the economy comes back, people will go back into crypto and we'll see a big pump. So there's some that I think that will do well in the next pump that I'm trying to accumulate to sell then. And then there's some like Bitcoin. I'm probably going to hold on to Bitcoin forever.
Sure.
Long-term strategy on Bitcoin and like Ethereum and things like that. So I've got some long-term plays. I got some midterm plays. And then I got some just for fun, like, the Dogecoin or Shiba Inu. Those are just, I think there'll always be an interest in those because they're the meme coins. They're funny. They're pretty easy to get into.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a lot of capital. I mean, you can spend $1 and buy like 100,000 Shiba Inu coins right now.
Sure.
And like people like that, right? Like you don't want to spend $1 and get like 0.0000001 of a Bitcoin. You want to spend $1 and get 100,000 coins. Like that feels cool.
For sure.
And nobody's like losing out on it, right? It's
Sure.
$1.
Sure.
So I think some of those they just they're kind of funny. By the way, definitely not financial advice or encouragement to invest into Dogecoin or Shiba Inu, but they've been around. Like those two are kind of a lot of people's intro to crypto, I think, because they're inexpensive, low cost, they're funny, based off a joke. So I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'll put $5 into this and get some money. And that's where I started, really, was like, it was Bitcoin and Dogecoin back in the day.
Really?
So Dogecoin's always got a little bit of a special place. I'll probably always have a little bit of Dogecoin hanging around.
Do you think that that governments will eventually take over the crypto world?
I do think they'll regulate them, yes. I think that can be a good thing if they implement good legislation. So
And do
that's
you
the
think
idea.
do you think that because I mean that's a part of the investment. It's like there's a risk with everything, right? And so my question is, do you think that if you're a betting man, I mean you're getting into the space, if governments get in and they regulate it, then will it hurt the crypto space? Will then it just turn into the kind of the digital currency that we have right now? Will it be the same idea, and then governments will be able to print more of it?
No, I don't think they'll take over it in that way. I think they'll kind of regulate it more like the stock market. And like there's been a lot of scams and things, rug pulls. Always a risk it'll go down to zero. So I think they'll get regulation that requires more accounting on exchanges to actually maintain funds or reserve funds, things like that.
Okay.
So I do think it will be good, because I think a lot of people don't get into crypto because it's super risky, right? Like, and if you want to be safe in crypto, you got to do a lot of work and a lot of research and things like that, and it's hard. And in order for it to go truly mainstream, I think it's got to be easier. And they're building apps to make that happen. But I think the crypto regulation will just provide a framework so people know what's going on, and I think it will be good because more people adopt crypto.
Couldn't there be a private institution that does that has those requirements, and just like what is it, what's the business credit score? They keep the business credit. What's that?
Like Equifax? Or
No, but it's specifically for business credit.
the Better Business Bureau, BBB?
No, it's it's slipping my mind right now. How to
Like the bond ratings?
No, it's a company. It's dang, I wish I knew what the name was. Dun and Bradstreet. That's what it's called.
Oh.
Dun and Brad. To my knowledge, they're a private company, but they say here are our standards, and so let's say they say your ad agency gets a 500 credit score. They're not a public with any government entity. They're setting their own regulations, their own, not even regulations, they're setting their own standards. And then because people trust Dun and Bradstreet, then they're like, okay, I trust your credit score as a business because I trust Dun and Bradstreet. Couldn't we do the same thing with crypto and with the stock market? And so we say, I trust Dun and Bradstreet, because at the end of the day, it's up to trust. I'm saying I trust the federal government to get into the stock market. And so wouldn't it be the same idea? I trust this entity that's rating these different cryptos, and it's up to this entity to say this crypto has a 900 rating because they're doing all these different things. But then this crypto, they didn't even make the cut. Do you think they could do that, or does it have to be the government?
I mean, I think someone theoretically could do that, but I think we're too far along the government regulation path that's going to happen, right? Like, so
Yeah.
So like, yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I theoretically,
I'm just
Probably
wondering
do
if
that,
if
but-
you could do it before the government got involved, like Dun and Bradstreet. I mean, to my knowledge, there. Whoa! Got like my light that fell over. This is my first time using this thing.
Nice.
It's kind of like a scary movie. Like but they haven't regulated it yet, and so if a company came in and they said, we know people are worried about getting into the crypto space, we're going to do our own private ratings. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they will or won't, but
Potentially.
potentially, yeah.
That's
I'm getting short on time, Addison.
okay. I really appreciate that was it right there.
Okay.
I really appreciate you sitting down with me, Levi, and any last words of advice for entrepreneurs out there that are looking to get started or that are trying to get to that next level?
Just there's always opportunities in the world. So if you miss one or make a mistake, don't beat yourself up because there's going to be another one that comes along. So
Cool.
there's always opportunity to grow and succeed, and you just got to keep your eyes open for them.
Well, I appreciate you sitting down with me, Levi. I'll let you go, my man. Yeah, I really appreciate this interview. I learned a bunch. I have 3 pages of notes.
Dude, this is cool. So send me the link to the video.
Okay.
I wanna see it.
Will do. Hey, good luck with your channel.
If you really enjoyed this interview, click right here to watch more. If you want some business tips, click right here.